Hi, I'm Brandon. I love Hallmark movies.
I'm Dan, and I despise Hallmark movies.
I'm Steve Lund, and I love making Hallmark movies.
Steve Lund, and this is the Deck the Hallmark Podcast.
Deck the Hallmark, it's his podcast.
Brandon and friends host this podcast.
We hope you like this jolly podcast.
It's big.
Oh,
It's a big
boy.
day.
Big day, Brand.
Big. You know, for as long as we've been doing this,
That's right.
We've had a little bit of a thing with our guest today.
Yeah.
That I don't even, I don't think he knew about it.
I don't think
but we
I
knew
don't think
about
you knew
it,
about it.
and we had fun.
We had fun.
Every time we talk about Steve Lund, we just go Steve
Steve
Lund.
Lund. It's
And
very exciting.
that's a fun thing that we do. And now to be face to face
with the man, the myth, the
via
legend.
screen with Steve Lund, it's very exciting. Steve Lund, I don't think you know how excited we are to be talking to you today.
Well, that's very kind, guys. I'm very excited indeed, and I'm glad to know where this phenomenon originated.
Would you consider it a phenomenon?
Absolutely. Sweeping
People
the
have
nation.
addressed you this way, you're saying.
They have, yeah, almost exclusively, as a matter of fact.
People on the streets, do they just yell across the street, Steve Lund?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, I live in my hometown of Halifax. There's only 500,000 people here, just about half of them. So yeah, that sort of thing happens pretty frequently. And I think my name is so short that people do the first and last name always together.
Right.
It's not
Yeah.
not just Lund, it's Steve Lund.
Right.
Yeah. Let me introduce you to my buddy, Steve Lund.
Steve Lund.
Yeah.
You're Steve Lund. You're not
That's
Steve.
right.
You're Steve Lund. And I think
That's right.
that's important. We're really excited, though, Steve, to have you on because you've done so many Hallmark movies, and it's honestly shocking that we've made it this long without talking. So it's very exciting for us. But you mentioned Halifax, Nova Scotia, where you live now, but it's also where you grew up. So take us back to childhood Steve Lund. I imagine all your friends called you Steve Lund as a kid, but also like what were you like as a kid?
Or were you a young Stephen Lund?
Oh, a Stephen Lund.
Now, actually, this is interesting because I'm named after my uncle, whose name is Stephen Lund, and he's quite a prominent businessman in town, a very well-known man in his own regard. And so for the longest, until sixth grade, I went by Stephen. And then I moved cities. I moved from a smaller town to actually Halifax. And I was like this totally new guy. I had a clean slate, and I wanted to be known as Steve.
Yeah.
You
But
rebel.
totally had a
You
new idea.
rascal.
He popped that collar and he strolled into school that first day. He
It's
goes, hey,
Steve.
everybody, I'm Steve Lund.
And when I strolled into school that day in sixth grade, I think I was probably about 5'10".
Oh, wow.
Ooh, you were tall.
I was massive. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I was fully grown by eighth grade.
So how tall are you?
I'm 6'3".
You were 6'3" in eighth grade.
Maybe ninth
to it.
grade. I think I something like
Were
that.
you
It was-
out on the ice just decleating folks? Just out there hockey, like with some 5'2", just dinkers out there just running them into the boards?
It was unfair. Yeah. There were a few times, I was telling some stories recently with my family about when we were away at hockey tournaments in our youth, and all the teams would be staying at one hotel, and we would have these sort of these mini stick games, and we would kind of face off against the team that we were playing the next day. And one time the parents caught wind of this, and they came into where we were playing, and they saw me just demolishing their children, and they thought that I was older than them, and they grabbed me and pinned me up against the wall and threatened me.
Oh, my
It
God.
was, this happened 3 or 4 times. It's just
Wow.
who is this kid?
I mean, you're a foot taller than the rest of the middle schoolers out there. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
in an actual, I know that fighting is part of hockey. We don't know a lot about hockey down here in South Carolina, but I know fighting is part of it. But I can't imagine anybody picking a fight with you out there on the ice in the middle school leagues anyway.
No, certainly not. No, I got to do what I wanted anyway. There's a reason eighth grade class photo that I'll send you, where I'm like right in the middle, kind of like this. I got like a button-down shirt. I'm pretty sure I have chest hair at this point. I look like the teacher of this class. I'll send it to you guys.
Please do.
That's
Please do. We'll
man.
use it as the promotional for this here episode.
Yeah, we will.
So was hockey the first love for you? Was that like a thing where you were like, I'm tall enough. I can get away with a lot here on the
or
ice.
does everyone in Nova Scotia just play hockey?
I mean, everyone does to some degree. I'd like to think. I mean, certainly a high percentage of kids will play some form of hockey. It's definitely a religion around these parts. But as a matter of fact, my first love was acting.
Really?
Wow.
Before I had like a real growth spurt, before I really understood the realities of playing competitive hockey in Canada, you could actually legitimately make a career out of it. When I was about 8 years old, I wanted to be Indiana Jones.
Really?
Nice.
Yeah.
How did that kind of like, were you going up for plays, or were you just like acting like you're Indiana Jones running around your living room?
Well, I was just acting like Indiana Jones. I had the hat, I had the whip, I had the gun, the jacket, I had the man purse, I had everything. And I would tell everyone that I was going to be Indiana Jones. My mother explained to me that he's an archaeologist by trade. And I found out that archaeology was not as exciting as it's portrayed in the movies. And I was like, wait a minute, no, I want to do like what the guy does. And she's like, well, he's an actor. And I'm like, okay, that's it. That's what I want.
Yeah.
So I did like the, theater programs. We had a really great a drama program in elementary school. We did this scale rendition of the Broadway version of The Lion King.
Ooh.
And that was just like my big coming out party.
Or you were Scar, Simba, Mufasa? Who are you?
I was Bonsai the hyena.
Bonsai the hyena.
It's a big role.
Yeah,
that's huge.
But
it was a secondary character. But I was in fourth grade.
No small part, Steve. No small
and
parts.
He clearly meant a lot to him. You know what I mean?
It did. Yeah. Yeah. It was some of my best work, actually.
I got to be honest. You said Indiana Jones, and this may be a stretch, but literally I believe it is Unlocking Christmas with Taylor Cole, where you guys are on some kind of treasure hunt, I think. The poster for that movie, if you put a hat on you, there's some Indiana Jones vibes there. Yeah. And I don't know if that was intentional, but I think you did kind of make it. That's as close to Hallmark Indiana Jones as I think we're going to get. So I'm going to say you did it.
Thank you. Yeah. That was a very adventurous one. I love that one. I mean, I love working with Taylor Cole. She is just, what a dream she is to work with. My God.
Who doesn't love Taylor? Who's your NHL team, Steve?
Montreal Canadiens.
Montreal Canadiens. Okay. So isn't that true for Andrew Walker as well? He's a big Montreal guy?
Yeah, I think so.
You're
right.
I think that's true. Yeah, I think we've had some conversations about that, actually.
Yeah.
So when you move to the new school, you walk in, you're Steve Lund, and everybody's like,
I'm
this
Steve
guy's...
Lund. Maybe you remember his hyena number 4 or whatever it was. Yes. Maybe you remember me.
Did you, but you were also, you're playing hockey, you're doing all this stuff. Was there a tension for you? Like I have this love of acting and performing, but I'm also this really tall guy who can just get away with murder on the ice. And like, were you being pulled in different directions?
Yeah, there was probably a time where I was kind of considering both, but unfortunately there wasn't a whole lot of, let's just say the cool kids weren't acting.
Right.
In 7th grade, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's kind of when I had my big growth spurt.
Mm-hmm.
And hockey kind of just presented itself to me, and then it just took all of my focus. So I was solely focused on hockey from, I don't know, age 10 to age 19.
Wow.
Yeah, and then it wasn't until 19 when I was playing in the junior leagues that I had a number of concussions and had to cut my career short.
Dang.
How many concussions are we talking?
Well, that's a good question. It's hard to remember. I'd say somewhere in the neighborhood of 8.
Holy moly.
You know, like some of these are not as severe. I had 2 really severe ones, and then I'm sure like a number of accumulative smaller ones. But
this is just because
he wasn't playing with 5'5" kids anymore.
He wasn't playing with. He was playing with big boys. This is a pretty common conversation now. I'm 41. I have kids. I don't think I'm letting them play football. There's a lot of information coming out about that stuff. You have 8 concussions. You're 19 years old. Is this a doctor saying in whatever year this was? I'm guessing like early 2000s, maybe, like, or in between 2000 2010. Like, was this a doctor that said you shouldn't play anymore, or was this a decision you and your parents made? I'm fascinated by this.
This is a really great conversation. I love talking about this stuff because this was right around the time that concussion protocols were being implemented. And so there was a lot more conversation about it. It was being taken more seriously. It's, there was still that kind of remnant of, well, if you're not walking on crutches, then you can play for the team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You felt bad for letting your team down when they couldn't see an obvious injury, like a brain injury. But there was a time where I actually had a bruised spinal cord that I didn't realize at the time. I mean, I had this kind of numbness in my body every time I moved my head down.
Good gosh.
And I was sitting in the dressing room just before starting a game. And I remember thinking, God, I need to say something to somebody because it had been going on for months.
Oh, my God.
And, the pressures of playing at 18 years old and you're trying to make the NHL and you don't want to miss too much time. I finally just sort of, took agency over this and mentioned it to somebody. Ended up getting an MRI done, and my grandfather, who's since passed, is a radiologist, and so he read my chart and he's showed me the bruising on my spinal cord, and he said, "Give it up right now."
Wow. You are very fortunate to be doing what you're doing right now. I like that. That's to have a grandfather that you could have easily just done what I think a lot of kids do, which is just, I got to toughen up and power through. That is so fortunate.
Yeah. So I credit my family 100% for, giving me that attention, not putting that pressure on me. Obviously, having the grandfather in that position was a huge advantage for me.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of the rhetoric was changing. There was, like I said, there was a lot more attention going on around head injuries. So it was right at that crucible moment where I was like, hang on a second, I need to start thinking about my life long term rather than what's important to this organization, this business after all.
Did you just cold turkey, or do you occasionally still get out on the ice and slap the puck?
Oh no, I still play.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I
still
thought
play
you
all
might.
the time. Yeah.
Yeah, just without the banging your head against the glass.
Yeah, exactly. There's not as much hitting and certainly no fighting allowed. I mean, sometimes fights happen, but I can't engage in that stuff anymore. So I'm a lot friendlier than I used to be on the ice.
So you still get out there regularly? You still out there? What do they call it? Shinny? What do they call it?
Oh yeah, you got it.
Yeah. I know my Canadian.
Be Canadian. That's great. I'm out twice a week, if not maybe 3 times. It's a great workout,
Yeah.
I love it. I'm blocking shots. I'm working so hard. I'm pissing guys off. Like
I love that.
I only know how to play one way. I don't have I'm not the friendliest guy on the ice. Let's just say.
I don't believe that.
Off the ice, totally different.
In my head, even the fights are friendly.
Yeah,
in Shinny and Halifax.
Yeah.
In my head,
They are.
stop.
Everybody goes out for a beer afterwards.
yeah, it goes out for a moose head. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's what Moose said. So you get to be, 18, 19. You decide I'm going to hang up the old skates. I'll still go out 2 times a week, but hang them up. And you're faced with a decision. Like, I'm guessing you were like, am I going to go to university? Like, is this acting thing this first love, this Indiana Jones? Do I want to dive back into that? Talk about that. Like, what decisions were you presented with, and ultimately how you kind of ended up going down the road of acting?
So I was kind of canvassing my friends and family at the time because this idea had come back to me about this first love of acting and whether or not that would be something I could actually pursue in a legitimate way. And there was that, or I was also considering going to law school and becoming a lawyer.
Sure.
Yeah.
There's something.
Yeah.
There's something. Obviously,
it's performing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's convincing.
That's right.
And I was very convincing. I thought maybe those skills could lend each other, themselves to each of those vocations. But at the time, I was ruminating over becoming an actor. I was discussing it heavily with my mother, who was a teacher and a wonderful coach and supporter. And she was like, all right, well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to get you an audition and we're going to see how you do with that. And then we're going to take it from there. And we were looking at different schools that I could go to, because obviously her being an educator, she's like, you're going to do this properly. You're going to go to school. You're going to get the training, blah, blah, blah. So I got this audition. We had a very good family friend who runs a production company here in Halifax. And they were shooting an independent feature, and they got me an audition. I went in for the audition, butchered it. But the director saw something in me. And he came up to me and he said, who are you? What's going on here? And I told him my story. And he's like, okay, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to give you some notes. I'm going to send you home. And we're going to bring you back tomorrow and see how you do.
Wow.
So I spent all night feverishly studying, trying to apply all these notes that he gave me. Went back the next day. I was actually working at the hospital at the time as an orderly, like a porter.
Yeah.
Carrying patients around and stuff like that. So I showed up in my scrubs. I didn't really know what I was doing. And I did the audition for the second time, did markedly better. And the director came up to me again and he said, do you feel that? And I was like, oh, yeah. I felt better than I ever had. I felt more validated than I ever had in all my years playing hockey. I was like, this is what I'm meant to do. I feel most at home here. I love to perform. I want to be a part of this machine of making movies, making television. And I was telling this director about this school in Vancouver that I was looking at, Vancouver Film School. He put his hand on my shoulder and he goes, go west, my son.
Wow.
I ran home, we enrolled, and I was there a month later. And the rest is history, I suppose.
That's like a Disney movie. He just described a Disney movie. Yeah. That's better than a Hallmark movie. That's like a legit, like this guy. Shout out to this director. No kidding.
Yes. Oh, Jay Dahl is his name. I'll always give him credit for that.
Shout out Jay Dahl.
I haven't seen it yet. I'd love to work with him someday where I can tell him this story. But
Steve, it looks like
we actually have him here today.
We have Jay. Bring on in.
Oh
Jay.
my!
He's not even on the line. He's here with us in South Carolina.
It was really weird.
It's crazy. He also started this podcast with us.
Third
so
chair.
I'm doing math based on your IMDb birthday here, Steve. So if it's wrong, you just correct me. But if you're 19 when you quit hockey, your first gig is when you're 20, and then you start getting in 2011. You get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different gigs. One of them's 13 episodes long. Wow. So in 2011, 2 years after you start to pursue acting, you book 5 gigs, one of them 13 episodes long. Am I right on that?
Yeah, that's right. I was at school for 16 months. And I think it was like 2 months out of school, I booked this web series that brought me up to the Yukon territory up north.
You're speaking of Yukonic.
Yukonic.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which was like something that the Yukon Film Commission had started to kind of showcase the Yukon as a filming destination. It's like, hey, look at all these features we have. This like beautiful landscape. You get 20 hours of sunlight in the summer and all of these sort of like benefits to coming and shooting here. But it had this really cute narrative. It was like 2 aspiring filmmakers go up to the north and they find this treasure map and there's a girl involved. And anyway, this job was incredible for me because it was relatively low stakes. It was not going on television. So it was kind of a really great training ground for me to like apply all of the stuff that I had studied over the past year and a half and just step right onto a film set and kind of get thrown all of these different genres and scenarios and stuff. It was amazing.
Dude, and those royalties are nuts for Yukonic. You get a check every month.
Yeah, dude.
And it's like, hey,
55 cents.
That's why they call him the King of Halifax.
That's
because of that
that's
Yukonic
exactly right.
money.
That's exactly right.
So you do Yukonic, and then you make the Vancouver round, so to speak. You seem to have 1 or 2 episodes on a lot of these shows that are filmed up there: Beauty and the Beast, Suits, Hemlock Grove, what have you. And you make it to Hallmark pretty quickly. You got to start helping women plan parties. So you get to Hallmark in 2014 as that was Best Christmas Party Ever. Were you a lead in that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's your first leading role?
That was my first, my first TV feature. Yeah.
Tell us about how you get it. How do you lock that in? And what was the reaction when you realized you're going to be a lead in a feature?
It was very surreal. I still remember where I was. I was driving on the highway in Toronto. I had moved to Toronto like pretty soon after graduating in Vancouver. I had a lot more friends out there. I was feeling pretty homesick, and anyhow, so I ended up in Toronto, and I had booked a TV series called Bitten, which is kind of around the same time, a werewolf TV series. So. Yeah. And that was a regular role, like a sort of series regular. It was pretty substantial. But out of the blue, my agent calls me and said, "Hey, you just got offered the lead role in this Hallmark movie."
Just an offer.
Just got offered.
Just a great offer. Yeah. I to this day, I've never auditioned.
Wow.
I love it.
Keep calling me, which has been amazing. It's really, I'm so grateful for it. But I wasn't terribly familiar with how Hallmark movies worked and how that whole world worked, but I was kind of like, yeah, F it, let's do it, let's give it a shot.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's turned out pretty well for you.
Yeah, it's gone okay. You know, I really enjoy making these movies. Like, it's always fun, it's always lighthearted. You know, you really get to know your co-star pretty quickly. You become fast friends with everybody. You know, the subject matter is so lighthearted that it never feels like it's heavy days, you know?
Yeah. Now, with the stuff that you had done up to that point before The Best Christmas Party Ever, had you played a character that fell in love? Like, was that something that you were comfortable with, or was it something that you were learning kind of on set? Like, here's how you fall in love with someone you just met over the course of 14 days for a movie?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because no, it hadn't happened to me yet. And
wow.
I was trying to navigate this. I mean, I consider myself, you know, a nice guy, and it's easy.
I don't know. It seems pretty mean to me.
You know, I wanted that to shine through, and listen, I grew up with two sisters. I've been around women my entire life. My mandate was to make my scene member feel comfortable, you know, and in all those exchanges, it was really about, like, that was top of mind at the time. I was really just focused on, you know, not being creepy, not being, you know, all these things. Like, I was really probably too focused on that, to be honest, but like, because it was new territory for me. How do I appear interested? How do I appear sort of sexy? I don't know. Like, it was really trial by fire. And luckily I had some really great co-stars and directors that kind of made me feel right at home. And it turned out to be something that I really enjoy doing.
Well, the other thing is, you know, you said you're traveling around, living other places that aren't Halifax. This gives you the opportunity. I mean, a Hallmark movie is 15 days shoot, a week before maybe. Like, you're still can audition for other stuff, and you were in a lot of other stuff over the course of the next half decade there. Do you have a memorably bad audition? Like, just one where you're like, man, what just happened in there?
Oh my God, so many. So many.
I don't believe it.
No way.
Like, we're talking about screwing the pooch. I mean, like, I went down to Los Angeles for just about every pilot season in between that time, like 2011 to 2019, whenever the pandemic hit, and we don't really get in the room as much anymore. I'm not sure if you guys are with that, but I was going down to LA, and I was taking every audition I could, and that sometimes meant 3 or 4 a day.
Good gosh.
I remember my first time in LA, I didn't even have a car. I was just taking the bus everywhere.
Yeah.
It was brutal. And I was going through, you know, so much printer paper and ink, and it was just this like revolving door. I couldn't keep all of that information in my head. You were just, you know, if you showed up and you didn't crap your pants, that's a win, you know? Really, like, there are so many of those situations where I was just, you know, walking out with my tail between my legs, be like, oh, okay. There's this like knowing smile on my face, and the cat like, thanks, you know, safe, like, we won't call you. I can't think of one specifically, but listen, Every actor will tell you.
Pilot season sounds like everybody we've ever talked to about that has like a pilot season story. They're never good. And
they're always like
I one, it's just really hard and you're just auditioning for everything. And then if you do get a part, that it's just, it's just a pilot, and it might not be picked up, and you're strung along, and it's this whole thing.
And then if it's picked up, you're held and you can't audition for anything else. And then they drop the show. Yeah. It just seems like a real crapshoot.
It is a cattle call. You're right. It's a total crapshoot. It's horrible. I don't miss that at all. The excitement of it can be fun sometimes, but you get really bogged down by it. It's the highs and lows are insane. You're at Fox or you're at ABC and you're signing these contracts that dictate what you're going to make over the next 7 years, or what you could make.
Yeah,
if you get
those big numbers.
And you're just like, what am I going to buy? What's my life going to be like? I'm going straight to the top, and then it all comes crashing down, and you just got to dust yourself off and get back on the bus and get to the next one.
Yeah, go be in the Good Witch. You know what I mean? Like that wasn't supposed to, that sounded terrible, Steve. I'm sorry.
Man.
Who wouldn't want to be in the Good Witch?
That's right.
Who wouldn't want to be in
Good Witch?
Yeah, that's the thing. If you're gonna be with one witch, you want it to be a good one.
We've seen all the movies you've been in since 18.
Yes.
Our producer Erin, her favorite Steve Lund joint is Christmas Incorporated, which we've not seen, but that's your next one. That's your next one on the list.
Which means you did a good job.
Yeah.
You got brought back next holiday season for another one. That had to, in the world of pilot seasons and not being in the what's next, getting to do another Christmas movie had to feel pretty good. They invited me back. They like me.
Oh my God, yeah. Those are lifelines. When they call and they offer you a role like that, and it could really just take care of your stresses. It's nice to feel wanted. It's so encouraging. I mean, there are some years that I've gone by where it's they haven't called, and it can be tough. So honestly, I'm very grateful for every opportunity. They've just been so kind to me. I love it.
I have to ask you a press junket question. You were in 5 episodes of Schitt's Creek, a show that is probably one of the most, in the last decade at least, one of the most decorated shows to come out of Canada. It is just, Eugene Levy, Dan Levy, the whole, Catherine O'Hara, just
oh my gosh,
fantastic. You got to be 5 episodes on that show. At the time you're doing this, do you understand, do you realize how special it is, or do you have a sense this is going to end up sweeping the Emmys and being an international phenomenon?
I certainly didn't realize that at the time. I was very excited to get cast in that role. I remember exactly where I was. I was visiting my family here in Halifax, and I did the audition with my brother-in-law on my cell phone, my iPhone 4 or whatever it was at the time. I remember getting the role. I was walking across this parking lot. It was a beautiful summer day, and I just felt compelled to do the Judd Nelson Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm just fist pumping. I was so excited. I just at the opportunity to even meet Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara and Dan, everybody else that was involved in that show. It was not lost on me at the time. However, I didn't expect it to be quite the phenomenon that it became. It was probably around season 3. Well, sorry. So season 3 is when things kind of took a turn for they sort of changed direction, I guess, and sort of leaned more heavily into this topic of sexual identity and things like that, which led them down the path that they ultimately ended up being praised for their commentary, and my character was quite a pivotal role in that change, in that transition. So I didn't realize that at the time, but after going back and watching it, you can really mark the kind of the shift. So it was cool that I only did 5 episodes, but everybody remembers my character because of that kind of Pandora's box that had opened up.
Yeah, I remember I started watching it. I don't think it was over yet, but it was, I think, going into the final season or whatever. So I was watching it, and I was like, Steve Lund. I was very excited to see Steve Lund. I was very excited because I started watching it after we had done this show. So I was like, it's always exciting to see somebody that you recognize on Hallmark doing other stuff, and so it's very fun. I want to ask really quickly about IMDb. I'm very interested in who edits IMDb, how decisions are made with IMDb. A lot of people, a lot of actors, they'll put a headshot for their picture or a red carpet shot or something like that.
Oh boy.
Your picture is a picture from Bitten of you crouching in the grass.
You're out in the grass.
You're out in the grass with Steve Lund. What is this picture, and how does it get chosen to be? It's a great picture. You look
amazing.
Awesome.
You look like you might need to throw up, but you look amazing. Like you look the jawline. Like you look amazing.
But you're in the grass.
But you're in the grass.
You're almost obstructed a little bit.
You're doubled over.
No, it's not a typical IMDb.
No, it
photo.
is not.
No, it is
by
not.
any stretch. I don't know how it became this, and I've been like, God, I really got to change that. God, I got to change that, but I don't know what to choose. I don't want to just put a headshot up there. That's just a little generic.
You want to give us a few poses right now? And maybe we can
how
take
about
something?
you put the picture that you're going to send us of the hockey picture?
My 8th grade photo with
that's not bad.
My little chest pubes sticking out there.
Yeah, but if you want to just do a couple poses, we can get these stills and we can send them right over.
Yeah, we can. We know the IMDb people. Clearly.
Sure, yeah. Let me get my hockey stick, actually.
Yeah, I think that'd be really good. I just Steve Lund, and he's in the grass, and he seems like he's having a serious time. And
I'm so glad you brought that up. That is so funny, man. I feel trolled, but respect to you.
Listen, no troll intended. I guess maybe a little troll.
He does. You asked about a pit. We did a whole bit. He was trolled a little bit there, and he's kind enough to join us
in the grass with Steve Lund.
Steve, you mentioned that you loved just meeting Eugene Levy. Did you have specific Canadian stars growing up that you like to watch? Like, did you watch old SCTV episodes, or did you watch Eugene Levy, or like I was introduced to all those folks through Christopher Guest movies. That was my introduction. But did you have a specific inspiration there?
Yes, I love Christopher Guest stuff. I was actually just watching the trailer to For Your Consideration.
Oh, so funny.
Which I haven't actually seen.
You need to check it out. It's fantastic.
I know, especially this award season too. I'm sure it's going to hit in a different way, but I loved Best in Show a lot.
Yeah,
that's probably my favorite.
Dude, this guy.
Obviously, like, my generation is the American Pie generation. Yep. So like, it's Eugene Levy was famous to me there. Catherine O'Hara in Beetlejuice and Home Alone, of course, and her work in Christopher Guest movies was just hysterical. Oh my goodness! But yeah, I mean, like, all of those people were huge inspirations to all of us. I was a big Jim Carrey guy. Like, I'm quite a slapstick guy. I really enjoy that kind of humor. That just feels very natural to me. But I remember when I was riding in the van with Catherine O'Hara on the way home from set, and I was just like, asking her all these questions of like, what's John Candy like?
Dude.
All of these people, and she just had all these incredible stories. She was kind enough to answer all of my questions. I was just pestering her. But to be in the presence of greatness like that and have them be so kind and so generous to you was a very encouraging thing. It's my experiences have been overwhelmingly positive with throughout my career, be them Americans or Canadians, whatever. But I think there was just a special little bit of pride that I took in them being Canadian ambassadors, and meeting them and having them be so kind to me. It was awesome. They rule.
That is awesome.
I love that. Going back to Hallmark or Hallmark adjacent movies, I'm interested in, you start taking these roles on the Hallmark Channel, you're brought back many times, and then kind of like copycat movies begin to pop up. These other networks that are trying to do what Hallmark does.
Right.
And you've kind of done a couple of those over the years of movies like 6 Degrees of Santa or whatever. That's kind of, they're doing Hallmark, but it's not for Hallmark. What kind of, like, when you go into a movie like that, like 6 Degrees of Santa, for example, do you know that it's not for Hallmark? And if so, is there any like hesitation on, oh, I don't want to make Hallmark mad? Or like what goes into those decisions to make movies that are similar to a Hallmark movie that's not actually for the Hallmark Channel?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think going into these projects a lot of the time, they're framed as our hope and our goal is to sell to Hallmark, but we're not guaranteed. So that's kind of all written in the contract to begin with. So you're like, okay, I am taking somewhat of a risk, I suppose you could say, but like it's the industry. You kind of got to take what you can get.
Right.
Sometimes, and like I said, the intent is usually initially to sell to the big boss, but that doesn't always happen for whatever reason. And the movies still get made and they get shown somewhere. Maybe they don't get the airtime that Hallmark would have given them, but it's all kind of in the same vein. We're all just trying to get on the Hallmark Channel. That's all.
Isn't that what we're all trying to do?
We're all trying to get on the Hallmark Channel.
Yeah.
We were there. We were on Home and Family.
We were on Home
we
and
made
Family.
it, man. We did it.
You did?
Yeah.
Wow.
I know. It was a big day for us.
Nice house.
Best craft services.
Great craft.
Best craft services.
That's good, right?
Steve, you mentioned somewhat of the historic pivot in Schitt's Creek. You also are in another fairly historic movie from a Christmas TV movie of the week standpoint,
Yeah.
Single All the Way on Netflix.
Oh, great one.
Phenomenal movie. A great cast. Talk about legend Jennifer Coolidge in that cast.
No.
But were you aware at the time, this is in 2021, Hallmark is under new leadership. There has been a push for inclusion so everyone across every spectrum should be able to see themselves and identify with people in things that we enjoy. That just should be common sense. It took Hallmark a long time and a few regime changes to get there. This is before they had a movie with the same-sex couple being the lead couple as a Christmas movie. But Netflix, this was a big deal for Netflix, and it's also one of the best Christmas movies of that year.
Amazing.
Were you aware of the history in it, or was this just somebody's asking me to be in a Christmas movie, I'm going to be in a Christmas movie, and that was kind of the end of it for you?
I think it was more the latter. It was gosh, again, it's like an opportunity to be in a Netflix movie. I'm probably not going to say no to that. And the opportunity to play a let's call him a sexually fluid character, I suppose you could say.
Yep.
Because that was kind of a part of the whole controversy in that movie,
right?
Or in that storyline, I should say. But yeah, no, it was really just an opportunity to work with some really great people and just kind of get into more people's living rooms, I guess.
I mean, I'm sure that did help.
Yep,
It's a pretty big movie that year, for sure.
And then that gets us to where we are now with the Hearts Around the Table franchise of sorts, multiple movies. I believe that they are, you're in the one that's coming up here, and you're going to be the lead there, but then you're also going to be kind of like support. That's how
One
I'm
of those
understanding
anthology series
yes,
that are popular,
if
these
you
days.
will. That one, like, am I understanding that correctly? And two, was that a fun kind of wrinkle to the format for you, where you kind of get to play the lead, but also stick around maybe a few extra days, I would imagine, to kind of add some extra sauce to the stories?
Yeah. So I think they're calling these things wheels.
Wheels.
Yeah.
A wheel is the term.
Yeah.
So it's
We
like
love wheels.
Three or four movies, this motion or whatever, and everybody's getting picked up in each other's movies.
Get in my car on my wheels.
That's right.
And we'll tell the story together.
Go to this, yeah.
That's right.
It was I had a blast making these movies. It was my first time doing a wheel. A lot of the other cast members in the wheel had done other wheels, so they were a little bit more familiar with the format. But super fun. We all became very close with one another. Appearing in each other's movies. It was a very interesting dynamic because you've got, sometimes in these scenes you've got eight actors who are used to being lead roles.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like you could have a clash of egos, or as somebody thinking like, I was the lead yesterday, but I'm not today, and so this is kind of just this. interesting dynamic you could get presented, but it wasn't the case. I mean, all of these really awesome folks just sort of having a great time, kind of being there for each other. We were staying up in this place. It's just north of Toronto, a couple hours, filming at this beautiful house on a lake. And at wrap, sometimes, like if one of us got wrapped early, we would go and jump in the lake for swims while everyone else was shooting at the house. Like, it was just this idyllic scenario. It was super fun. Oh my God.
Were they filming all like 4 movies at once?
That was
like
my
how
question.
long were you on set for to film the whole wheel, if you will?
They filmed the movies in sequence, so it was 1, 2, 3, 4. And I was in for, what was it? The typical 14 or so shooting days for the first one. And then I was simultaneously shooting a series back here in Nova Scotia that's set to premiere soon, I guess. I'm not sure when. So I was back and forth a lot. I think I flew back and forth to Toronto 5 times in like 3 months.
Wow.
So I'd fly in for a couple of days, fly back, shoot a couple of days here, and then just do that jump a few times. And I think the whole thing took, it was like 4 months.
Holy cow! What's the show called?
3 months. The show is called Sullivan's Crossing.
Okay.
Sullivan's Crossing.
And that's going to be on, I think it's the CW.
Okay.
All right.
And it's entering into its 3rd season, but my character is new this season. So.
Wow.
That's right. Yeah. We're here.
We got Chad Michael Murray as the lead.
Chad Michael Murray.
Aaron, have you seen it?
Yeah.
You like it?
Yeah.
You excited for Steve Lund?
I mean, high school Aaron would have loved Sullivan's Crossing. Mid-30s Aaron, not so much.
Fair.
But
Okay.
I still watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, listen.
Come
Listen, I am who I am. I was raised on the CW.
Yeah.
There's only so much you can do.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love that.
Scott Patterson as well from Gilmore Girls.
Oh, wow.
What a cast.
Feels like I would love Sullivan's Crossing.
Have you become a
the
regular?
lead is from Hallmark too.
Oh, really?
The female lead. She's been in a few.
Who's the female lead?
Morgan Cohn. Morgan Cohn. Yeah.
Very
All
cool.
right.
Beautiful, awesome, wonderful, totally a Hallmark starlet for sure.
Are you a new regular, or is this recurring, or what is this?
I think I'm a regular. I think they had me as recurring, but they kept inviting me back. I mean, my initial contract was only negotiated for a handful of episodes, but they kept me in every episode. And by all accounts, it seems like they're going to sort of expand on my character's storyline.
Steve Lund's character does not get murdered at the end of the 3rd season of Sullivan's Crossing. We have that confirmed. That is news we're breaking right
Are there
here.
murders on Sullivan's Crossing, Aaron?
I don't know.
Are there?
No.
I'm not. No. Yeah, there's. I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't.
Also, before we move on, because we got a rapid fire, which is very important. We didn't even tell Steve about this. It's very important.
Huge.
It's just like the regular questions, but random.
Different.
You did. I didn't want to hop over Mistletoe Murders.
Oh, yes.
You die in Mistletoe Murders. Spoiler alert to all listening. We'll put it in the show notes. What was that like? How did you get that? You're called to be the Hallmark lead in all this stuff. And when that show starts, Brandon and I watch mostly screeners. We don't see any commercials for anything. So when it starts and
that is the brag that you think it is. It's
that is
pretty cool.
Pretty cool to be us.
We're pretty
We're
cool.
not sipping wine on a Saturday night.
No, sirree.
It's Tuesday morning at 7:30 and we're
If we
cracking
can't
open
get it
a
ahead
Hallmark.
of time, we're not, actually in this
That's right.
case we watched it.
We
after
did
the
watch it
holiday
afterwards.
season.
We did.
So
We
that's
watched
not
it.
the
It's not
case.
important. Steve, what I'm telling you is we sit
Pretty
down
cool
to
guy.
we sit.
Yeah,
thank you. We sit down to watch. Next round of Mooseheads is on me. We sit down to watch these movies, and then I assume Sarah Drew is in this movie. You must be the lead that's going to be in this, like you're Steve Lund.
You're Steve
Like,
Lund.
and then you die, which I think that was part of the fun
we
for
were like,
Hallmark.
we can't kill Steve Lund.
To
That
kill,
was my understanding.
but
We
you
can't
can kill Steve Lund. What did you know? Like, I just want to know what that call was like. You're normally like, hey, Steve, it's Hallmark. You're going to be the lead. Hey, Steve, it's Hallmark. What if you died in this movie for us? What was that about?
So it was a mind trip for me. I won't lie, because it was like, hey, they have this series. I auditioned for the lead of the series like 2 months before, and I went to Peter, and Peter's fantastic, of course. But
He's no
and,
Steve
he's on
Lund.
this
We don't know
podcast.
Steve. We can't.
We don't know Peter. We can just tell you that he's not Steve Lund.
That's
all I
right.
can tell
We
you.
don't know.
He's definitely not. So then I got this call out of the blue. It's like, hey, this Mistletoe Murders show wants you. And I'm like, oh, great. I got the lead. And it's like, no, it's actually for like 3 days or something.
Oh,
I was
no.
like, oh, okay, interesting. And they're like, yeah, and they're going to kill you.
Wow.
And I was like, wow. And then like, I'm pretty sure, and you guys might be able to confirm this, I'm the first dead body.
You're the first. I don't know. Do we?
He
That's
is a
interesting.
dead body. Yeah, he's the first one.
Yeah, we get to see him.
Yeah. Is he? Do you mean the first one ever on Hallmark?
That's what I was told. I could be wrong about that.
I have to give it some thought.
So a lot of times the murder happens off screen,
Right.
And we don't have. I mean, definitely is the first dead body we've seen in a Christmas movie on
For
Hallmark.
sure.
Right. So that was kind of exciting to me too. Then I was
History.
like, yeah. So the thing was too, is like, I didn't do a Hallmark movie for like 2 years. And I was like, geez, are they ever going to call me back? You know? And I'm like, was it something I said? Was it one of those other movies that I made? Like, you know, I wasn't sure what was going on. I was kind of, you know, I was doing some other things at the time too. I started a rock band. I was like, I don't know, maybe this is fitting with the brand or something, you know? All these things that your brain tells you. You know,
Our brain told us to stop listening as soon as you said rock band.
Yeah, and
Steve,
actually,
so
and
you're
I don't
gonna-
mean to do this, but it actually was the rock band. And I hate to tell you, Hallmark's not a fan of rock. They
You're
don't
gonna
like
have
it.
to pitch it. What's the name of the band and what kind of music? Is it just good old fashioned rock and roll?
it is good old fashioned rock and roll. Yeah, the name of the band is called Burnt Reynolds.
Burnt Reynolds. Man,
Reynolds.
gosh,
I love that.
so much. And you are what? Lead, vocals, guitar,
I
drums?
play drums.
Plays drums. Yeah, he does.
Hits those skins.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, I'm a tub man. Yeah, I just learned over the pandemic, just kind of sat down and tried to figure it out, something I always wanted to do. And my brother-in-law and I just started messing around, and then we joined, another friend of ours joined, and we're selling out venues here in Halifax. It's been
Selling
great.
out venues.
Burnt Reynolds.
Selling
It's a
them
hot
out.
ticket.
Do you
Yeah.
think
It is.
that they think that you're good, or they think it's Burt Reynolds?
I think they think that some of them anyway, think that I'm going to do the set with my shirt off. I think that might be,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got some Hallmark fans coming in there?
there might be a few people there hoping to catch a glimpse of something juicy. I'm not sure. But I mean, the response has been overwhelmingly supportive. It's really hard to tell if they're being objective or if they're just excited that a friend of theirs is, you know, trying this thing and they have something different to do than go to a 2-year-old's birthday party.
Yes.
Or something
Yeah, and in Canada, it's so hard to parse applause because it all, you know, they're going to be
Everyone's
nice
nice.
regardless, and it doesn't, you know.
Send it to
Yeah.
us. We'll
Yes,
let you know.
I'll let you know. But also, I mean, if we ever get that bit budget going, are we flying up there to a show just to be like, take your shirt off?
Yeah. To heckle you.
Yeah, maybe.
I'd love it, boys. I'd love to have you at a show, or hopefully we can come to Greenville.
Well, that's interesting.
Dude.
Should
Don't
Burt
say it.
should
We have a festival here in Greenville, Steve, and Burnt Reynolds playing at the festival makes a lot of sense to me.
I think it's a good fit, to be honest with you.
Dude.
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna hate the music. I don't know. We're recording soon. I'll send you guys some tracks when they're available. You can.
That's what
You
I'm
know,
talking
we can
about.
get it. We can get him early before he's playing Madison Square Garden. and
That's right.
stuff.
Before he's playing the garden.
That's exactly.
I
right.
love it.
Do you want to ask him about Christmas bedtime stories at all, or you want to just pass over that?
I would request he not listen to that episode as a new friend of
Okay,
mine. I will. I do. I have to. You brought it up. I was going to leave it alone. Steve,
Gosh.
you're in this movie the whole movie long. The husband's supposed to be dead,
Yeah.
and at the end of this movie, turns out you are the Baxter. You're not getting the girl, and the husband shows up. Correct? That's how I remember it.
It's been a few years, but that is my recollection.
When you were reading the script, were you like, "What the f," or were you just like, "Yeah, this is normal"?
he's back.
I was surprised. I was definitely surprised because it happens on page like 99.
Yeah, late.
Yeah, very late.
You've let us this whole time believe that this was actually not going to happen, and then it's like, oh wow, he just shows up, and okay, I guess it's over.
If
Yeah.
memory serves, I think we had a theory that it wasn't real. That she was just
from
kind of
the
like.
time of the preview episode,
right.
we were like, "This guy's alive."
Well, but
And
we had a theory at the end that she's like
Oh, that he's
making
a
it all
ghost.
up. Yes,
Yeah.
that he's a ghost or
Yeah.
whatever. That none of it's actually real.
Boys, I'll be honest with you. I thought the same thing when I read it. I was
Heck
like,
yeah, bro. Let it be so. Why
Yeah.
not?
You know, it was an ambitious kind of alternative decision that they made.
It
and
was.
I'm here for it,
Yeah. I want to say, like, again, it's been a few years, but I feel like she's like finding stuff in her house that's like moving around, like an ornament or whatever under the couch and stuff. And I was like, what if he's a ghost?
Yeah.
And he's doing the moving, and
That's
then
right.
suddenly, I like this.
You
theory.
can't, but it's the troops. That's the thing.
It's the
It's the troops, and you're gonna have the troop come home, even if you say the troop is not coming home. That's just how Hallmark rolls. And I think
That's
That's it.
giving
that hope to the boys. I get it, man.
Yeah, they couldn't break their cardinal rule,
That's right.
even though they told you the whole movie he's dead.
Yeah.
Which was something.
It's a bedtime story.
It's
I'll
bad.
just tell you.
Steve,
Okay,
That's
let's do rapid fire.
let's do rapid fire.
We're each going to ask you 3 questions. They can be about anything. Believe it or not, what we've just finished is
it's
structured.
just a regular interview. That's
Very
right.
structured, very like we follow an order. This is not. We can ask you about anything, and you have to answer it unless you don't want to. Dan?
Steve, listen, I think we're best friends. Best in Show's your favorite comedy. It's mine too.
Awesome.
But there's a lot of pressure here. What's the best Mighty Ducks movie?
Ooh, yeah.
Oh, I'm pretty partial to D2 Ducks.
Yeah!
Right. That's the right answer.
Tell me why, Steve. Can you tell me why?
It's been a long time, but are they playing roller hockey in the beginning of that
Yeah,
one?
they are. It's knuckle puck time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
I think I've just seen it more. I think it's just, they kind of.
They're international.
They're
in that
playing
one.
Iceland.
Yeah, playing Iceland.
That's it. The Iceland one, the triple deke, and all that stuff.
Yeah, and then you even you were, to be honest, you caught a little of the American spirit.
Yeah,
we're
a
out there,
little
we're
bit.
beating Iceland.
I feel
Come
like
on.
America is the best.
Oh heck yeah! Oh heck yeah! Which is like, if you actually played the Iceland hockey team, it would be just a bloodbath.
Yeah. Yeah.
They don't play hockey over there.
That's a great first question.
what I can.
What are we eating in Nova Scotia? What if we were to go up there, go see Burt Reynolds, we'd have a great time. Afterwards, we were like, let's go eat. Where are you taking us, and what is the food of choice?
So there are a couple of very regionally specific menu items. I think first of all, we would get a lobster roll.
Okay. Dan, are you
And we-
listening?
I love a lobster roll.
He loves
Yeah,
lobster
it would be a very seafood centric kind of early part of the
Gotta
evening.
be honest, I might be out.
Why
You gotta do something not seafood for your boy Brian.
Okay.
Or
Don't worry,
just ignore him. Just
Or
ignore him.
me. I'm
and
used
you
to
and
being
I can eat
ignored.
lobster rolls.
We have something that you're going to enjoy at the end of the night.
Okay.
After we've been out to the bars for many hours, we're going to go and get what's called a donair.
Okay.
Donair is
Donut
Halifax-
eclair?
No.
Okay.
It's like a beef and lamb wrap
Okay.
that is served with onions and tomatoes, optional.
Sure.
But the
We'll take
secret the secret that differentiates this from other wraps or kebabs or things of that nature is there is a condensed milk sweet sauce.
Ooh, let's go.
It's like garlic,
Steve Laws.
Steve Law.
garlic, lemon, sugar, and anything. Anyway, it is like our traditional drunk food.
Yeah.
But I eat them sober all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a big proponent of them. But Halifax is the only city in Canada to have an official food, and it is the donair.
Oh,
Man,
I love that. That's a great answer.
All right, Steve Lund. You either get cast in Christopher Guest's next movie with Catherine O'Hara, Eugene Levy. We'll throw 2 or 3 more of your favorite Canadians in there. Mike Myers, Jim Carrey. They're all in the movie, and you have 4 days. So you're like, F on the call sheet, but you're there. You got multiple days, multiple scenes, and you get to do that. But the Canadians never win another Stanley Cup,
Oh.
or Canadians win the cup the next 2 years. They've not won one in 32 years.
Wow.
The Canadians win the cup the next 2 years, or you get that experience, but the Canadians never win another one in your lifetime.
Oh my god. That is the best question anyone's ever asked me.
Wow.
Thank you.
Incredible. Oh my god, what a tough one. I've kind of resigned myself to the fact that it's never going to happen in my lifetime.
Wow.
I don't know. There's just too much pressure now for either the Montreal Canadiens or the Toronto Maple Leafs. I just don't see it happening. I have some kind of like vision that it's never going to happen. I even have I think I have $1,000 bet that adjusts for inflation that the Leafs are never going to win the Stanley
Well,
Cup.
that's been half a century, right? That's been a long time.
Been since '67.
Yeah.
Whatever is there. So you know what? I love the Canadians, but I just think there's too many problems with, ownership and the fans and the pressure that we put on the team that it's never going to happen anyway. So I'll take the Christopher Guest movie.
Yeah, you will.
Wow. Dan, you haven't asked this question in a while, so I'm going to ask him.
All right.
Most expensive beverage that you've ever had. You don't necessarily
have to pay
purchase
for
it.
That's right.
But it's just something that you've had.
Most expensive beverage?
Yep.
Oh my gosh. I think I remember I overheard somebody talking about this the other day. Like they were at a New York nightclub and bought a shot of tequila and didn't realize that they charged them for top shelf tequila.
Yeah.
And I think I had an experience like that where I bought like 6 shots for some friends and it was $1,200.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, what? I couldn't believe it. I thought it was a joke that they actually added an extra 0, but yeah, I don't know what the heck that was about.
Almost a $240 shot of tequila.
That's
Steve Lund there.
Yeah, you should have to sign a waiver.
Yeah, just
to,
let you know
to do that. Like, hey,
so
I want to
know.
make sure that you know what you're doing.
This price? Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They should have to do that up
for
front.
sure. Steve Lund, what's the worst Indiana Jones movie?
Ooh.
Either of the 2 new ones.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. They're horrific.
I had a weird enjoyment of the last one. Something about them leaning into, and I don't want to give that twist away because it's wild. That lean in felt more absurd to me than the Crystal Skull one, which was just, I think I agree with you on. But okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Crystal Skull, that whole movie bothered me. I hated the Mutt character.
Yeah.
I hated the way it was shot. I thought it looked horrible. And
Wow.
it was, anyway, there was a few fun things about the most recent one for sure. But I don't think, and this was just so Spielberg to go the alien route with Crystal Skull. But honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I walked out of the most recent one.
You walked out.
Oh no.
I just I don't need these movies. I don't need them.
Wow.
The original trilogy exists. Look, you can see over there on my wall.
Yeah.
You know,
There it
they
is.
exist. That's all I'll ever need. I never asked for a new one. It just cheapens my enjoyment of the original 3.
Then I have to have you rank those original 3. They're on your wall. I got a follow up. Since
question.
you walked out of the Dial of Destiny.
That's 3B. That's
it's
question
just
3B.
it's a follow up.
Repeat.
Also, just spoiler alert to everyone, big Dial of Destiny fans out there who haven't seen the movie and want to. Steve Lund, he time travels on an old plane in the end of that movie. He travels.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Kind of in the same vein. Spielberg's really into that stuff. Okay, that checks out for sure.
Yeah. All right. Sorry. Go ahead. Rank the original 3 for me.
So Raiders for me is number 1. Last Crusade,
Okay.
and then Temple
Yeah.
of Doom.
Fair.
I do love Temple of Doom. I think it's problematic, perhaps.
Yep.
Politically, anyway. But it's still really fun. I think it's a great action movie.
Fair. All right. Now you can go ahead.
My last question is this: what's TV reality competition show do you think that you would have the best chance at winning?
Oh my god. Oh, it's funny. I'm laughing because my ex-girlfriend just won Big Brother Canada.
Oh
Wow.
Yeah, which she's, we're very proud of her. She did amazingly.
Did it surprise you that she won, or is that she was definitely going to win?
Well, it was reality TV is not my thing, and it was maybe a little bit contentious in our relationship, but ultimately I was very supportive of her because this was her dream, and I wanted to see her realize this dream. We broke up before she got on the show. But,
classic Canadian dastardly breakup. That's as bad as it gets in Canada.
You don't like Big Brother, and she's like, I can't.
I can't do that.
I can't do this.
Exactly. So anyway, congratulations to her. She did really well, and she's now on this really great path. This is going to become a career for her. So very, very proud of her. But for me, I think because there was one show, it wasn't Big Brother for her that she ultimately wanted to be. She wanted to be on The Challenge.
Yeah. I know
And
about
the challenge rules. That show is awesome.
Sounds like a backhanded compliment
the
here.
physicality of it. I'm just strap some football pads on me and let's go. Maybe I'll get a concussion and get knocked out, but I think I would do pretty well. in the physical kind of, one of those types of challenges.
I like it.
Fair.
I like it a lot.
Steve Lund, you're a national treasure, sir. I mean, just fantastic. Lund. Thanks for being with us. Oh, there's a little applause.
The crowd's cheering.
Very nicely done.
Look at them go. Listen to them go.
Studio audience is going nuts.
They're going crazy. That's right. You got to check out his movies that are all coming out.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. I think the first Hearts Around the Table is airing this Saturday upon this airing of this episode. So go check it out on the Hallmark Channel, and then check them out in the Sullivan's Crossing.
That's right.
I think that's happening this summer.
Series regular. We broke that news here too. That does not die.
That's right.
Hollywood Reporter. If you're gonna start talking about
that
it,
one.
you gotta quote us. You gotta quote us.
Well, listen, guys, thank you so much for having me. It's been really great to talk with you. You guys are awesome.
Absolutely.
Best, man.
Until next time, may we be the first to wish you a Merry Christmas.
Deck the Hallmark's a Bramble Jam podcast is produced by Aaron Shea. For more information on Deck the Hallmark, you can go to deckthehallmark.com. For more information on the Deck the Hallmark family, you can go to bramblejamplus.com. Deck the Hallmark is presented by Philo TV. For a free trial of Philo, go to philo.tv/DTH.